Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome back to the Nikki and Brie show. Salute.
Salute.
We're actually in a new spot today.
Yeah, we have celebrations.
Big celebrations. A lot of actually celebrations.
There is. Because this is the first time we are podcasting from
our speakeasy that we're waiting for a tasting license. So you will be able to taste here. We just can't do it yet. But we're going to have some fun events in the future. So just if you follow us on our social medias at Nikki Garcia, at Brie, at the Nikki and Brie show, you'll see all of it. But if you're watching us right now on social media, you get to see the backgrounds
a
little bit. We'll do tours and all that on our YouTube channel later on. And I don't know, probably in the next month or two.
Yeah.
Well, we thought it'd be really fun to podcast out of here. And so it's special. And we're doing
there's a room that we're actually starting to construct and make it where it will be the new home of the Nikki and Brie show. Yeah. So we're super excited. It's not quite done. So we are right now in the private tasting room with the VIP where the wine club members hang out.
Yeah.
Or the parties of 10.
The parties of what?
Or the parties of 10.
Yes, the private parties.
The big private parties. So super excited when all that can happen. But yeah, popped open some Sauvignon Blanc.
Yes, which will be on our wine club shipment here in a couple weeks. So if you're a Bonita Bonita wine club member, you're going to be enjoying our Sauvignon Blanc that we're enjoying right now.
And now Brie. Well, we have a special guest coming on our show in a little bit, so you got to make sure to stick around. We have Aida Rodriguez, which you all know, incredible comedian, lover, Latina.
That's right. She had a really great HBO Max special, Fighting Words, and she also has a book out now, Legitimate Kid. And I have to tell you, her story reminds me a lot of Nicole in our memoir. You write because you want people to kind of hear what how your journey was to get to, what you're doing now. And she had a very rough upbringing. I mean, literally by 7 years old, she was kidnapped twice. She went through a lot of heartache, not only with family members, but her story just is incredible, and how she found comedy through all the pain. But a beautiful story. So I can't wait for you guys all to hear from her and her new book. I just think if you're out there and this holiday season, you need a story to kind of just help give you inspiration. Her story is definitely one. So
yes,
a good book.
Can't wait for her to get on. It'll be very exciting. Brie, I feel like we have not talked about Dancing with the Stars in a long time.
I know, because we were dancing it up in Lake Como.
Shoot, yes, we were. So, okay, you've been tuning in every week. Who do you, because we did this last season, we haven't done it yet this season. Who are your final four? Do you think is making it to the finals? Do you want me to give you mine first?
No. Well, I'll give you mine.
Okay.
Jason Mraz, for sure. I definitely think Charity. I feel Ariana.
Mm-hmm.
And I also feel Sochi too. Those are my top four.
So that's exactly mine. My exact four: Sochi, Jason, Ariana, and of course Charity. And I'm not even saying Charity just because it's Artem's partner, but to me, they've actually been the most consistent so far this season.
Right.
When, like, I think of Len, right? When you look at technique and the dance that's been given, the style of dance that's been given to them that week, and Artem's choreography and the storytelling, they have nailed what you're supposed to have. Like, I was shocked with Jason doing ballroom last week. You realize like what he's really good at. Sochi's really great.
Right.
And Ariana's killing it. She's doing so great.
Yeah, you can tell she's a great dancer, and she's been doing it for a while. I always it's when I watch the celebrities out there, when I see their footwork, you just know who's either been a trained dancer or cheerleader or ice skater or something, because they're able to move their feet quick but elegantly.
Yeah.
And I can tell that with Ariana.
Totally.
Which has been, I will say, I loved last season. This season, I feel like, I haven't been so connected to it as I usually am. And I don't know why. I think I missed Troop. I missed pro dancers dancing. I don't know if it was commercial break because I'd watch it on Disney. I loved that.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something missing this season. It's been great to have Julianne Hough back in the dancing world. And I
like how the hosts get involved in the dance before the show.
Yes, that's actually been really fun. But I really want them to bring back Troop, and I really want them to bring back the commercial break pro dancers doing a dance
into the commercial break.
Yeah, I just think that was so special, and it added a little to the show. And I need
Yeah. Well, no, it's true. It made it like so unique. I agree with you. I've definitely have felt that's been a little missing. I really though, and you know me, I've enjoyed this season, but I think I'm just connected to so many of the pros that I love seeing the pros, and then of course their partners, but I like to see what like all the pros are. Like I love watching Gleb and be like, okay, what's Gleb doing? Or Emma and Sasha and Val and Jenna and all of them. Even Peta, I love watching. I think Peta's doing so amazing with Barry, and Barry's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate saying for his age, but for his age, he's doing so great.
But also Sasha and Allison. Yeah, Sasha and Allison have really surprised me this season.
Yeah.
They're, I think, one of the most entertaining couples to watch. I've really enjoyed watching every single one of their dances.
Yeah, they're really fun. What do you call it? I mean, the one thing, and I'm just going to put this up there to Disney Plus. Like, okay, so if I have ABC, I can watch Dancing with Stars at 8 p.m., right? And I'm on the West Coast. So if I'm paying for Disney Plus, one, like all the other seasons, I should be able to watch it at 5 p.m. with the East Coasters.
I agree.
And like someone goes, well, now there's commercials. That's why they can't do that. But I go, then what's the perk of paying for Disney Plus? It makes me want to cancel it and just watch ABC.
But also I got a notice like it's going up monthly. Their subscription.
Well, I don't mind that, but I'm like,
but I mean, like, then give me no commercials if you're gonna be upping my.
Not even no commercials, but let us watch at 5 p.m. with the East Coasters.
It's been hard on me because I used to be such a perfect time with my kids to watch.
See, for me too.
And now 8 p.m. is just, it feels like
it's pretty much about, I can't watch the whole. So that is the only thing this season. I haven't watched a full show yet. Like by the time I get to watch it, I just skim through. So I haven't watched one package yet, except for Charity and Artem's. But I think I even missed some of theirs. Because like I only want to spend an hour instead of 2 hours because of the time, like 8 to 9. I mean, we're already asleep.
Well, and I think that's with me. I wait to watch Wednesdays, but because I go on social media, I almost know what people's dances look like. So I think that's where my excitement isn't there. Where last season everything was brand new, so you watched everyone come out the first time.
Yes, that's for me too. So that was the plus about being able to. That was the first time where we all got to watch a live show, West Coasters,
right? Unless
you have the NFL package, but you got to watch a show live,
and it's more exciting.
It's more exciting because you're interacting with the rest of the world. Mm-hmm.
Come on, Disney, let's let's work on that. But besides Dancing with Stars and like
it's my life.
I know I feel like we sound like those really hardcore football fans who are like the coach should have did it this way. Better than the coach.
No.
But
just say it. I mean, people talk about it on Twitter, so why not? We can talk about it. To me, the show is still spectacular. They're getting incredible ratings. They are killing it. I love it every year. And I think costume and hair and makeup are killing it.
Killing it this season. I've even noticed that.
Yeah. Even the hair and makeup, it's so beautiful this season. But yeah. I can't wait for my husband to come home. But
has that been hard?
It's, you know what? It's always around this time where it's really hard. But Mateo's getting older and like holidays have a lot more meaning. Like this is the first time so far that he's really been into Halloween and like asking me about trick-or-treating and going to the pumpkin patch and costumes and just really understands it all. And so it's been sad, and Artem's even been sad to miss all that. But then I'm trying to go to all the events in school and do all the things and work, and I'm doing it all alone. And I'll admit it does get overwhelming. And I just feel this week is where like being exhausted has hit me the most. But as parents, we just power through it. It's great because I want Teo to experience the Harvest Parade, and I want him to go to this festival and do pumpkins with you, and like I want him to do all the things, and I want him we stay on top of school and all that. So
sometimes hard. All the things doesn't mean it's good.
Well, you know me, I'm like doing like I don't go overboard, but meaning like did I have time to do my hair today? I may have had a little time, but I was too tired to do my hair.
Brian and I. So Brian came home for a couple of days this week, and he and I looked in the mirror, actually this morning, and we were like, dang. And I'm like, Right. My under cheeks to my chin is sagging so much. And I know it's because of my lack of sleep and just, I feel really exhausted. And he's like, I looked in the mirror and thought the same thing about myself. He's like, I feel like my face is starting to sag. I look super old. He's like, he goes like, finally, like this, he's told me this morning. He goes, this morning is like the first time I looked in the mirror and was like, whoa, you look like kind of like an old man. And I'm like, no, you don't. Now, granted, he came home with a black eye and his chest all beaten up. But he and I just looked, and I just honestly, like, when we looked in the mirror, I just looked at myself and I'm like, this is sleep, right? This isn't going into my 40s, right? Like,
I know. No,
right?
I feel you
this
because
is bad sleep.
I have felt the same, but I do feel like if Artem was there to tag team, because, okay, also for everyone, and you've been there, done that, and you're dealing with it now, but three's our journey. Like, overall, Matteo, I couldn't have asked for a better kid, and I think God knew maybe like, okay, our parents are entertainers, mom and dad will be in and out, like, or I'm going to be doing a lot on my own, like, overall, Matteo is so amazing. Does he have those three-nager tendencies? 100%. I always make him help me take the trash out. He decided to start sprinting down the middle of the street as fast as he could. And as we all know, our boys are already fast, but that made me realize how I'm very fast, but not compared to him.
I don't care what anyone says. I carry a leash and my purse.
Yeah. And so I think it's like I'm dealing with those moments, as well as with all the fun activities. And I am trying to be as present as possible because you and I both work from home. So I'm trying to be more mindful about returning emails or doing social media in front of Matteo and playing. But I'll admit, and I don't know, it's because I'm going to be 40. When I put him down at 7 p.m., I am so effing tired. I've washed my face. Sometimes I don't even do all like 5 rounds of different face things I do. I might only hit like 3 little serums. I crash in that bed. Like, I am so done. My body's throbbing, but I'm like, is this being a 40-year-old parent? Is this being like...
For sure. I get why 20-year-olds, why you have kids in your 20s at times.
I'm just so tired all the time, but I don't want to do energy drinks. Like yesterday, I had half a Celsius, but then I was literally laying in bed from 8 to 11 with my eyes wide open, but my body was so tired. And I'm just like, fuck, like, it's just so a long-winded answer to you. I'm very much missing Artem. I just can't wait for him to get home and parent together. And, like, I can't wait. And you get to when Brian gets home at times, but I am like craving to sleep in my own bed. I haven't slept in since August. So, like, and I don't know what's going on, Brie, but the past 2 weeks, since you and I have gotten home from Italy, Matteo wakes me up every day. It's either 5:20 on the dot or 5:40 on the dot. Maybe twice was 6 a.m. And then for a while before I left for Italy, he was sleeping till 6:30.
But why don't you just have him play? Like, my kids know, like, if mommy's still sleeping, go play in your rooms. And I have them monitor. I guess my kids walk in my room.
Yeah, Matteo literally will go, mommy, 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 mommy. And I'm there in a heartbeat.
I mean, Buddy legit knows. He'll walk in the room, see me sleeping, and he'll go 10 more minutes or 30 more minutes. And I'm always like, 30. And then I'll make breakfast.
Yeah.
No, but since I've been back from Italy, he's only slept through the night one night, but he's been coming into my room every night at 2 a.m.
Yeah. Mateo's been half and half sleeping with me.
And he just sleeps with me. And then if I'm not cuddling him, he'll go, cuddle me. And I'm like, you should be asleep.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way he's sleeping great.
I tell Matteo, I go, Matteo, the sun is still sleeping, which means you have to sleep.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, can I watch TV? And I'm like, no. But did you see the reel that I sent you?
No.
The mom, when she finally takes her bath at night, her son's already asleep. She goes in. She had to film it because he does it every time. He hears the bathwater running. He grabs his pillow and blanket. He walks in. He lays it. Doesn't say a word. Walks in, puts it right by her bath, and then falls asleep. And he's out. And then she shows the little shoes. Does it every time he does.
That's interesting. I wonder if it's the noise.
No, it's the boys. They just want to be with their mama. Oh. He's like, oh, wait, she's still awake?
Yeah. Well,
that's what I assumed.
Every time I take a shower, and he doesn't do this all the time, but he does it a lot. I'll hear his feet. I'm in the shower. I'm like, Buddy's coming. And I'll see his head like peek like looking through the door and his big smile. And I'm like, go to your room. And I'll hear him run back.
Oh.
I know. It's why boys, they love their mamas, it's for sure. And not all boys, obviously, but I feel like a lot.
Oh,
they're exhausting.
Well,
man.
At
least my kid is. My kid is.
Well,
my boy is exhausted.
I get with Buddy, it's a little different. Even though, don't get me wrong, Teo's very active and busy.
Yeah.
That's why I'm exhausted all the time.
Our boys are very busy, but
oh, go ahead.
Well, I want, to say, because I sent you a video, but like Buddy starts to bring all my couch pillows into my office. And I'm like, what is he doing? But he like made this like really great padding. Like he put down the big ones and then a couple little ones, literally climbs on my office desk and literally does, you would think like a crossbody off a top rope. And I will say, like, at first I was like, wow, that was a really great form.
Yeah.
But that's how he is. His brain is constantly thinking of destruction.
Yeah.
And how high can I go?
Buddy,
what can I do?
Daniels.
And I literally like will video it just to show my husband because I'm like, this is your mini me. But it's just he has it in him his brain works. Like, how can I be physical? How can I be physical? That's love language.
Matteo reminds me so much of Birdie, and Emily actually got to see it the other day before you came over and we made our cocktails. By the way, everyone, we are bringing Bonita Bonita cocktails. Brie and I are turning to mixologists to our YouTube channel. So if you want some fun ideas, we're starting with the fall, then we'll go into holiday fills. Well, I guess it is holiday fills, but we give you great ideas that we credit other people for, of course, but we make them, we taste them, and we let you know how they are.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out on our YouTube channel. But like, in his own world, singing, talking, doing it. And Emma was sitting there like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, it reminds me so much of Bird when she would just sit there. And I'm seeing a lot though, since he went to work with Artem at dancing, he does a lot of dancing stuff. Like he doesn't even realize it. And he loves music. Okay. So you know how he loves Zach Bryan. And so you guys, I have to tell you this story because I had to have Brie see it in the car. But Matteo, I've talked to Brie. So Brie and I both finally saw Magic Mike, the movie. The last movie. The one with Selma Hayek.
Yeah.
The last one.
Yeah.
We are both obsessed. We watched it on the flight home from Italy. It was so good. It was not what I thought. That's why I have waited so long to watch it. And Channing Tatum and Selma Hayek's chemistry was incredible. It was like, there was just so many feels. Channing Tatum just did so amazing.
I want to know how uncomfortable she was during the first dancing.
I wouldn't have been uncomfortable. I've been like, yeah, that's great. So what's the direction? Sure. Sounds good to me. No, you're right. I would have getting when she had to do her thing. But Selma Hayek, Desperado, hello. I think she's fine.
Yeah.
It's in her. But so Brie and I were talking about it. I'm like, maybe I talked about it in front of Matteo. And then I was telling Artem about it because Gleb and Artem, Brie and I finally saw the dance where they got the moves from, if you came to our live show in Phoenix, that they did. So I was telling Artem on the phone, like, wait, what's it that Channing Tatum says when he grabs that the men don't do? It's about not connect. Remember? And then permission. But I told Artem, I go, you and Gleb, well, I didn't have Gleb. I had Artem dancing on me. But I was like, you didn't give me the feels where you grab my face asking for the permission. Like, can I do? Because that's what I remember Channing teaching the guys. When you do something, you touch her and you look at her in the eyes asking for permission. Like he did. I thought it was permission.
I don't know. I need to go back.
Okay. I'll go watch again. I don't know. That's great.
Dang, you gave Artem an F on his Magic Mike.
No, but I said, you have to redo it now for my birthday. And I want you to look me deep in my eyes and ask permission and remove you do.
Oh my God.
And he was like, oh my goodness. So my point being, no, that's how he was saying it when he was teaching the guys off the streets.
I missed that scene.
And when he was doing the different stuff on the girl, and the girl's like, oh yeah, this is great. Anyways, so now Matteo, when he wants to hear Zach Bryan, which now he's saying Zach Bryan, but he started saying, play Magic Mike. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? Play Magic Mike? And I go, Brie, I swear, unless I'm hearing him wrong, it's Magic Mike. So Brie and I and Matteo went on a Michael's run, Brie's favorite spot in Birdie's. And we got some DIY. A Bonita Bonita is coming to the channel too. Brie's going to be doing wine bottle ghosts for y'all. And did he not say play Magic Mike? Play Magic Mike. So I've been trying to teach him. It's Zach Bryan, not Magic Mike. So today in the car, he goes, play Magic Mike, Zach Bryan. And I'm like, oh, damn. So Zach, you're Magic Mike. But so you know how he's attached to those songs? You know what else he wants to hear all the time?
What?
Armageddon theme song.
But is it because maybe you play it all the time?
No, it comes on and he literally will tell me, I don't like. So he was kind of liking Fight Song and I had fun things to it. Doesn't. Oh, you know what else is his favorite?
What?
You're going to love this. Oceans.
Oh, yeah.
He gets so excited. I played Taylor Swift for him because I thought he could sing with his cousins. Told me I don't like. Sorry, Taylor. I played some like more hip hop stuff. I don't like. He loves country and like folk.
You gotta do Imagine Dragons and theirs.
I did Imagine Dragons. The one because you kept talking about your kids. Because I was trying to do stuff like, oh, we could sing with Birdie and Buddy. Yeah. So you tell me, I don't like. That's his thing. Which his speech teacher and I are trying to tell him, can you change it? Or I do not like this song because he's so like, I don't like.
I like that though.
Yeah, it's cute.
He knows what he wants.
He does. Hey, I love it. You know? So, Magic Mike.
There you go.
Magic Mike.
Is that what Artem's going to be for Halloween?
Well, in our room, he better be.
Well, you're not even going to see.
No, we're astronauts. What are you guys?
I mean, Brian and I had a big conversation on this. Brian's nothing. I'm going to be.
He's not going to be a ghost.
A black cat. I mean, we're going to. See, he and I just didn't really want to, it's not even spending money, but, but it's the waste. Like, we just kind of felt like you get this costume for this night, and then like, you have to store it.
You could take the sheet off your bed and throw it over his head.
I do, but I have to cut out holes.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you go to the thrift store and grab dirty sheets?
No,
just kidding.
But the kids, they have their outfits, and I feel like it's so much about the kids anyway. I mean, it's fun for adults too. I used to love doing it.
Yeah.
This year I'm not really into.
But you're a black cat.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a black cat.
And Matteo and I are astronauts. Like
I think every year I'll be a black cat now because it's easy to store away and boom.
Okay, well that's great. I will be something different every year. And this year I'm astronaut because Matteo right now is obsessed with rockets and space. And he watches NASA on YouTube. He's just obsessed. And he's obsessed with the construction of a rocket and that it has a countdown, it blasts off into space, and that it breaks down in 3 different pieces for the satellite to get up there or whatever they're doing, if they're on a mission. So the first day when his outfit came in, mine didn't come in yet. His did, and I put it on him, and then he got really upset because he thought he was going to space alone, and it was like a whole breakdown. And I was like, no, you're not really going to space because you have the outfit on. But then Brie and I, we had a fun party. Oh, Ryan, who's with Bonita Bonita, it was his birthday party / Halloween party. So I had to put on my astronaut outfit first to show him, and then he was happy to put it on, knowing like, okay, mommy and Taylor are going to space together. But the one thing where you'll be proud of me, Brie, where I'm kind of frugal, is we have 3 events to dress up at, and I'm going to be an astronaut for all of us.
That's great. You should.
I'm not going to change it up for us.
You're an astronaut Halloween at 2023, so it's okay.
Exactly.
You be it at every one.
Right. Now, did I order a little bit more accessories?
Like what for an astronaut?
Well, I ended up getting really cute astronaut boots.
See,
no, but like little
goes too far.
No, but like they're cheapies.
No one's even going to see your
And then I got sick ass astronaut glasses while they were promoting.
So you have a helmet.
Well, we got to make little changes throughout. And I got Taylor his own little helmet.
He's going to hate that.
But we'll see.
We will see. But I will say one thing I did like that Nikki sent to me that I thought was really great is on Instagram, parents were showing, and I think it was on the Today's Show, they were showing this thing called Witch Switch. And it's where you have your kids, they can pick about a couple candies. They put their trick-or-treat bag filled with all that candy, awful candy, on their front door mat. And when they wake up in the morning, the witch took their candy and left them a toy. So a bad thing for a bad thing. But I'm doing that with my kids this year. I told them about it. I was like, hey, so I hear this witch come. If you leave your trick-or-treat bag outside the front door, she takes your candy and will leave you a toy. And they were so excited.
Yeah, it's the coolest thing.
I'm not big on candy, I'll admit. My kids don't eat candy. I don't.
No.
We like baked goods in our house, but candy.
We do not do candy either.
And now California banned Skittles. I mean, there's so much stuff out there. I'm just like, you know what? So I told them, you can pick a couple pieces. I'll decide which, in my head, I'll be like, go for, like the Hershey bar or something like that, right? And then now I have to like think of like toys to get them, just not be there.
Well, and that realized saying I loved it because they like to see the little girl so excited. Like you could tell at first she's putting her trick or treat bag on the doorstep, like, oh no. And then when she opens it in the morning and sees Elsa, the doll, like laying there,
she freaked out.
And I'm like, that's why immediately I was like, oh, my sister will be obsessed with this. But then
I agree.
too, like for my house, I got, I did whole food candy for,
I always do.
I just do the whole food brands, natural dyes and all the things. But other than that,
I might do like wooden toothbrushes. Actually, to be honest, I should dress up as a witch every year because I'd be perfect. Like,
no, I think you should send up as the Grinch. The Grinch who stole Halloween.
And put out wooden toothbrushes. That would be I'm going to do that. I'll put out wooden toothbrushes.
So I should actually show you this. You know how we mainly watch stuff on YouTube, Matteo and I came across this video and it actually made me feel bad for the tooth and wanted to make me brush my teeth even more. But it shows like when you don't brush your teeth well on the tooth and then the little green gremlin that's like starting to build a cavity and the tooth is like, brush me, oh please, just brush me. And like the gremlin's like, ha ha ha. And then it shows them finally when the brush comes to save the day, but he has to do it more and more because even if he'd have brushes, he's still going to attack the tooth. But Matteo was just like, and I was like, see, Teo, that's why we always have to brush our teeth.
So you know what I always think of? That t-shirt you used to have with, it was like a tooth on its side with like the X eyes and it was a floss and it was like flossing ain't for gangsters.
Yeah.
Flossing just ain't for gangsters.
No, flossing is for gangsters.
And it was like it was floss hit
the chocolate bar. It was the tooth that hit with the floss that hit. I took out the chocolate bar. Right?
Where's that shirt? Do you have it?
I don't know. That was the sickest shirt. I got Pink Sound. Love that store.
And you got rid of that?
Shout out to PB. Sorry, Brie. You think it fit me?
You keep everything else. You literally have clothes.
I had that one. It was my Heather Iconic shirt that I had all the time.
Find my inner Britney.
Oh, that one. And then another one.
I love Brad Pitt.
Yeah. Look at it.
That was Buffalo Exchange.
Buffalo Exchange. That, we need to go there when we go to Arizona next. Buffalo Exchange was the shits in a good way. Like the bomb.
Yeah.
The best.
Well, I say before people think I'm a boring mom and you're crazy, we should probably take a quick break and then bring on
we have a special guest.
Yes, we do. And we have so much to chat with her about. But when we come back, we have Aida Rodriguez.
Awesome. Hi, Aida. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you ladies doing?
I'm
really
good.
I'm just out here in Napa Valley, enjoying wine country.
Mm-hmm.
I love it there.
Oh, isn't it amazing?
It feels like you actually get away. A friend is a sommelier, and I went there and I did a tour, but I had a comedy in San Francisco, and I didn't want to go back.
Yes. I bet. Well, it was like earlier, Brie and I, before we had to pick up our kids from school, we were crushing. So that's like after you harvest the grapes, you put them in these barrels and they go through and you have breaks and you're doing all this stuff. They kind of get processed. And I'm just like looking around, like, I love this. And I show up to my son's school and I have like grape juice all over me, but I'm like, this is like living life for me. It's like just heavenly, pure heaven.
Quality of life. I remember there was this movie that I think it was called In the Clouds that Keanu Reeves did, and he was in love with a woman whose family owned an orchard, and it was one of the corniest lines ever because he was in love with the girl. He was like, she's like heir to me, but it was really corny. But you saw the process of this family making the wine. It was just beautiful.
I love that.
I need to write that down because I remember seeing that movie but never watched it. So I'm like, I want to make sure I watch that in the clouds.
We need to do that. Okay,
Yes.
So Brie and I want to dive into this. We were doing all this research and oh my gosh, you have such an incredible story. It's like, I was telling Brie, I'm like, Brie, I don't even know where to start. There's just so many amazing things, so many things you've conquered, so many things you've succeeded in. So I was like, I just want to start with your book because your book just came out, Legitimate Kid. What made you want to write it?
I've been wanting to write a book for quite some time. And I remember I set out on this mission to write the book. I was meeting with agents and I kept like hitting the wall saying, oh, I want to write this book. It's the natural progression of the comedian. Like I wanted to tell my story. I wanted to do my memoir and nothing happened. Like I kept meeting with agents and, I would just keep hitting a wall. People would be like, hey, you need to write a book proposal. And then every time I would turn in a proposal, it would come back with endless notes. And I was like, I'm never going to do this. And then I just relaxed and I was like, you know what, let me stop pushing so hard. Like what's for me is for me and it'll happen when it's supposed to. And then a couple of years ago, two published editors from major publishing houses DM'd me and were like, hey, we would love to talk to you about doing a book. Wow. And it was the easiest process. But I've always wanted to tell my story. I come from poverty. I come from Latino family that was, my grandmother came here in the 50s from Puerto Rico in search of a better life. And I grew up poor with working class people that, that are not normally elevated in society. And I wanted to just highlight them because they, at 2020, when we had COVID, people were like the essential workers, but the essential workers have been people in a lot of our families for a long time. They've always been essential. They've always kept the world going. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to always just let them know that I saw them and that they were special and golden.
Oh my gosh. It's me full body chills.
Yeah. I love that. It had to be incredible when you finally got the book and you got to hold it and just be like, wow, like here's my life story. What was that feeling like?
It's funny because that box sat in my house for a few days. I couldn't open it. I talked to my therapist. I had to do an exercise with my therapist and my daughter before I actually opened it. There's so much pain in the book. And when I finally opened it, I was still a little numb. I was like, oh, the book is here. It wasn't until last Friday when I was on an airplane going to DC to work that I cried. I just had this moment and it finally just hit me that I wrote it. I told the story, and all of the people in my life who had passed away get to live in this book. They stay alive in these stories, and I just got so emotional and I cried. I feel very proud and I'm very thankful that I'm able to do that because my grandmother was illiterate, and to write a book is just a great accomplishment for not just for me but for her.
That's truly incredible. Now you say you have a therapist. So when you were writing this book and having to relive all these painful moments, after every time you'd write about a story, did you have to talk to your therapist, or how did you deal with that pain all over again?
Well, the therapist is a weekly visit. So
yeah.
She gets the download of all of the things. It was heavy. My mom was living with me at the time. And, like this version of my mom and who she is now is not the version of the mom of my childhood, that had been involved with so many things that caused me pain. And so it was really conflicting. I would have days where I just didn't want to talk to her. Like I made sure she was good. She had everything she needed, but I just was angry. I was reliving some of the stuff. And I realized how much I never really honored little me and gave her, the grace and the compassion that she needed, because she was raised to always take care of other people. I'm the eldest daughter. So I was always translating and going to the doctor and going to do things for people. And Abuelo needs help and you got to go help grandma. So I never really realized how much I had been through and done as a kid. And so it was tough. It was tough to sit through some days and, cry and get angry and just learn to realize we don't ever think about all the stuff we've gone through because we're just so busy trying to get through all the time.
Right. Yeah. It's so true. It's like, even when Brie and I wrote a book, I remember having, because I'm always seeing my therapist too, and my life coach. And it was like, I don't know what it was about writing a book, but that was like the hardest time, like harder than therapy. It was so emotional and draining. And I think that you're right, because it's like you're just in the moment of the book and not with like all the busy life around you, that it's like the first time you kind of come face to face with this, your stories of the past. And it was like so hard. I just remember being like 2.5 years of like, is it done yet?
Right. And I feel like too, it's you want to be completely honest and factual about your story, but you know that loved ones will have their feelings hurt. But what loved ones did to you in the past is what made us all strong women. And so I feel that when you're talking about your mom, because there was stuff with our dad, and I wanted to protect him, but at the same time, I wanted to tell my full story. So that takes a lot of courage. So, you know, that's amazing that you're doing that, because you're going to help out so many people who, you know, either feel like they have no one to talk to or can't go to a therapist, but they'll be able to read your book and really feel like they're not alone.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then when you now in this book, obviously, because you're a comedian, are there going to be any like stories, laugh out loud moments where people like you've never shared? Because I know comedians, like they're like rock stars on tour. There's like good stories. Is there going to be any stories that no one's heard of?
No, you know, yeah, there are several. Most of the stories are stories that I haven't talked about. There are some parallels, but yeah, there are some laugh out loud moments, but I didn't write the book with punchlines at hand. I didn't want the burden of a punchline. You know, a lot of times we have a lot of trauma, and people are accustomed to hearing the trauma of women and people of color in a way that we have to make it digestible for them. And so I didn't want to do that. I want to, you know, there are things that happened that were bad things, and we should have the dignity of being able to process those things as being exactly what they are, without having to say, but here's the punchline, guys. I don't want you to feel bad. So yeah, it's not a book where it's not like a comedian's memoir. It was the publisher who told me. She was like, you're an author. This is not a typical comedy memoir. This is a book, an actual book, and you really go to some deep, dark places. But I wanted to tell the story, so I want to be free of that. I want to put it behind me now and say, all right, I dealt with that. Now I've released the chains. And I, you know, because, you know, in our community, people are like, you know, what happens at home stays at home. You shouldn't be telling.
Right.
And
for sure.
That's how you keep generations of abuse going and enable people to continue to do things without consequences, because we keep sweeping it under the rug. And I was like, I'm not doing that anymore.
That's powerful.
I love that, because it's so true, especially as women. We always feel like we have to sugarcoat it or make our pain or whatever happens to us. Like, we always think about not affecting others. Like, especially I feel like in business, it's like, oh, well, we can't make our bosses upset, or we can't, you know, piss off these people, because then we're not going to work anymore. And so I love that you just came out so raw and real. It's like, that's even stuff I'm trying to do in my life, even though it can get me in trouble at times, but it's like, you know, right? And it's like crazy. And I hate like the fact too, right? When at times you're like so honest with your truth, but then you get the anxiety later. Like, did I ruin everything? Or, you know?
I do that all the time. Yeah. You can get canceled at any moment. You know, I was just telling somebody that I just learned to shut up now and just wait before I talk, because even with the simplest things, you can go on a whole rant on your page and say, I love apples. Apples are my favorite. I've loved apples since I was a little kid. And there will be somebody angry because they think oranges are better than apples. And they will put a whole dissertation in your comment section and tell you how you're the devil because you don't like vitamin C.
Right. I know. And then it changes it changes your day, because you read that and then you're up all night and you're like, why am I bothered by this? Because there's so many other great ones who like the apples, and you're like, geez, I know.
Well, and do you think it not like that now makes it so much harder, like being a comedian and doing your work and writing your jokes? Because like the talk used to be so free, and like we all knew like, okay, this is all funny, it's fine, but is it really tough now?
Well, it is for a lot of people. You know, I work in a male dominated space, right? You understand?
Yeah.
So you can't show up being soft because they will run all over you. And
Yeah.
so I've had to make an active decision that I'm just going to tell my jokes and my story. The people who like me will follow me and the ones who don't won't. But I'm not going to keep altering comedy or my perspective and my story to make somebody feel comfortable because they came to a comedy club to cause problems, because that's not my comedy. My comedy is, a lot of it is observational. It's about my life. And it makes some people uncomfortable. Well, don't come to the comedy club. Go to church instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly.
That's so true. So you have 2 kids?
Yeah, my kids are older. My kids are grown-ups. So, it's so funny because my son was sick a few months ago and he was coughing. He was like, Mommy, I need you to take me to the hospital. And I'm like, I have to hear these speeches about how you're an adult so much. And then the minute you get sick.
Isn't it crazy?
And
you just automatically need mom. It never changes.
I was going to say, all you need is your mom. Your mom makes everything better, which is great. Do you think your kids will read the book?
I know they will. Yeah, they absolutely. They have to. They're in it.
Yeah.
And, we talked about it before and we sat down and we were like, hey, listen, this is my story. I'm going to tell it. And they've always endorsed that. They've always been behind me telling my story. Even in comedy, when I talk about them,
right.
People would call me a bad mother because I have a joke about my daughter, that when my daughter was a teenager, she told me that she hated me. And I was like, I'm so glad you said it first. I hate you too. and
that's so funny.
Right. It's just a joke. It's something a lot of people can relate to when you have teenage kids. And I had people very upset about the joke, saying they would never talk to their children like that. That's toxic language. It was just a mess. And I was like, you know what? I'm not participating in this.
No. And, I find it's so refreshing when people are real and honest, because that's the one hard thing about social media is I feel like we have to act like we're perfect parents. Our lives are perfect, but it's so nice when people are real and honest and authentic. I mean, it's like, yes, I've yelled at my kids before. And I'll sit there and I'll let them know, like, sorry, Mommy, lost her temper. I'm only human. I will work on that. It's crazy when people get like that. I actually find it refreshing when I hear people's stories, because then I'm like, oh, good, I'm not alone.
Childbirth, so many people will talk about childbirth like this ethereal event. We're like, oh, and I'm like, man, I was on a battlefield in childbirth. I was eating ice chips. I was fighting. I was cursing out my husband. I was, it was just, I was sweating. I was so hungry. And then you hear people, oh, no, it was the most magical moment. And I'm like, do you know what women want to hear? They want to hear the truth. They
100%.
want to hear it's not evil, for feeling this way.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I remember my childbirth too was not what I wanted, because I ended up in emergency C-section, and it was hard not to be disappointed. Like, I wanted to do a vaginal birth. I had this whole idea of what childbirth should be, and it was complete opposite. And like, I wish it was different. Like, if it was my way, I would have had a home birth and a tub, but my body decided differently. And I was disappointed, and people would be like, you shouldn't, you had a healthy baby, which yes, I did. And I was grateful for that.
Of course.
I wish I could experience the other way. And that's just the honest truth. When you wrote this book, did you feel like your story it made you feel not purpose in life, but that, wow, my story, like, not everyone has enough courage to tell their story and have the platform that'll reach, but did it kind of make you feel like, wow, this is my life purpose? Like, I get to help so many people around the world who don't have anyone.
Yeah, I did. And that's what I was focusing on. Because, when you write a book, people start focusing on things like making those bestseller lists, sales. Of course, you want to do that. This is a business. We all got to eat. But I just had a moment where I was like, I didn't write this book for that. I wrote this book for little me and all the little me's that are out there, all the little girls that are out there that are doubting that they can do something in a tough world that's dominated by men and sometimes doesn't give women the opportunities that they should. I wrote it for little people, all the people who grew up without their father and felt like they were less than. I wrote it just for the purpose was definitely what shined the most. And I was like, oh, I can use words to heal people in a different way. So I definitely found a very profound purpose in writing a book. Yeah. That's a great question.
Yeah. And I love that because, I feel like I love reading books and I love reading people's stories. And like your story is just going to kind of like, for even someone like myself, kind of restart that fire inside. Because and that's what I love is that sometimes, we need to be reminded of how hard life can be and is, but also as a woman. And when I hear other women's stories and the struggles and what kind of they fought for and the path that they're paving, it just gives me that fire, like gets me going again. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to read your book because I know it's going to give me that like fire. And
man, I can't wait for you to read it too.
I know. I can tell just when I was going, through it all, and I feel like it's going to be a book I'm going to read in a weekend. It's going to take me probably 2 days. It just sounds like such a really beautiful, powerful story. So I'm excited for that. And I'm excited for our viewers to also, check it out. With our listeners, we always love to end with a quote, some type of inspiration or motivation or motto, whatever. What would you leave with our listeners?
I love that. So my book starts with a quote by Helen Keller that says, one cannot consent to creep when one feels an impulse to soar. And it's very meaningful to me because my book is broken up into 4 sections: cocoon, metamorphosis, wings, and flight. I love butterflies and I love the process of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. And that's what the book is for me. You have this fire sometimes inside of you and you want to do something and then you kind of talk yourself out of it. Don't, because that fire is aligned with your purpose. And that's the passion that's igniting the purpose for you to go do what you're supposed to do. And I was really scared to write a book because I wasn't an author. I didn't finish college. And I'm around all of these people who are academics and are always like, I'm this and I'm that. But I just paid attention to that fire. So I went and did it. So one cannot consent to when one feels an impulse to soar.
Wow. I love that. Yes, that's a keeper. I'm keeping that quote. That's great. And thank you again for just being a voice, not only for women, but for Latina women, because we need that. So it's an honor to have you on our podcast. Thank you so much. Everyone, we're going to put it in the bio, but please make sure to go check out Aida Rodriguez's book, Legitimate Kid. It's in bookstores now. And congratulations with everything you have done.
You too. You
thank you.
Are pioneers, and I appreciate the warrior spirit. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It does take a village, so it's nice when all of us women can connect.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thank you for having me. All right.
Yes.
One.
Hey, you too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, everyone. Well, I'm sorry I kind of went MIA there at the end, Brie. I thought Matteo started vomiting in his bed, and I've already dealt with vomit. So
that's okay. You're lucky.
That was scary. Kids are first. So.
And you're lucky you have an all-star twin sister who can just do anything on the fly. Honestly, I hope every night when you go to sleep, you thank God so much for me, because I honestly don't know how you would do life without me.
Oh, right. Just remember you have the same in me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, anyways, let's talk about some upcoming TV appearances that this awesome, amazing sister to my right has, as well as moi. Barmageddon season 2 goes back on air November 13th on USA. So make sure to tune in. If you are wrestling fans, we air right after Monday Night Raw. So make sure to tune in. And that week, which is going to be an amazing week, finally, Twin Love drops on Prime that Friday, November 17th.
Wait.
The world will be binging because the show was so damn good.
That's right. So you got to get your boots and beers ready, and then you got to get your popcorn and red wine ready for all the love you're going to see.
That is very, very true. And you know what? Make sure to check out our special guest today. She was amazing. Great story at Funny Aida, and her book is out now, Legitimate Kid. And of course, if you want to look back at her special on HBO Max. It's called Fighting Words. Thank you, Ida, again for being on the show and so understanding. But yeah, well, Brie, today's been fun. Love being in the speakeasy, amazing vibes. And you know what? One last thing, y'all better vote for Artem every Tuesday on Dancing with Stars, 5 p.m. Eastern. You only get 2 hours to vote, and text charity in cap locks to 21523. Thank you. You are continuing to bring money to my family and getting me a very great Christmas gift.
All right, Desperate Debbie. Until next week.
Whatever.